It's fair to say that former Manchester United players don't always make the greatest of managers, but Michael Carrick seems to be a man who's going to break that trend. He's done a superb job at Middlesbrough since taking over in October so far, taking them from the depths of the relegation zone up to the Championship playoffs. And in today's video, we're going to be exploring some of the tweaks he's made to this Borough side, if he and Middlesbrough are the real deal this season in terms of a promotion challenger. And I'd like to hear some of your guys' thoughts on this one in the comments down below. If you'd like to see any other deep dives into any other individual managers or teams in the Championship, get your suggestions on them down below. But without any further ado, let's jump into this one. So before we actually touch on Michael Carrick and the overall impact that he's had on this Middlesbrough squad, I think it's important to understand the state of play before he arrived at the Riverside, and we'll do so by looking at Chris Wilder's time at the club. Wilder arrived partway through the 21/22 season and took over from Neil Warnock. The club was ultimately underperforming at this stage of the season, sitting 14th in the Championship in mid-November, and Wilder ultimately came in and had an overall positive impact on the club for the remainder of the season. He took them to within just one place of the playoffs, ultimately finishing 7th in the end, and he put his usual tactical spin on things, playing that back three with those bombing on fullbacks, and overall the signs were fairly promising, although it is worth noting that Middlesbrough only won 2 of their last 8 matches of the 21/22 season under Wilder. Middlesbrough then came into the following season as one of the promotion favourites. I, like many others, had them predicted to be in the Championship top 6 as a bare minimum, and plenty had them as top 2 candidates this season. After the sales of Jed Spence and Marcus Tavernier, Middlesbrough had plenty of money to go ahead and reinvest into that squad and mould it in the way that Wilder wanted to. They splashed out on the likes of Marcus Force, Matthew Hoppy and Matt Clark, as well as bringing in several high-profile loan players. Despite things going well for Middlesbrough off the pitch, on the pitch, it wasn't a great start to the new season, and they ultimately only won 3 of their opening 14 matches. They regularly found themselves squandering clear-cut chances in front of goal and were conceding goals at an alarming rate at the back. What was perhaps more bizarre was the fact that despite Middlesbrough's vast underperformance at the start of the season, their underlying numbers under Wilder were still quite promising. In terms of expected goals and expected goals against, Middlesbrough were one of the best sides in the Championship under Wilder, but clearly something wasn't right behind the scenes. That then comes to the point of Wilder himself, because while he clearly had built a tactically capable Middlesbrough side, there was a man management aspect from Wilder's time at Middlesbrough which just seemed to be lacking. What probably didn't help Wilder's case was the constant links away from the club, whether that be the Burnley job when that popped up or the Bournemouth job. Wilder was constantly being linked with a move away from the Riverside, and that had to have had a knock-on effect for the rest of the squad. Ultimately, some quite big players seemed disillusioned with how things were going, and Wilder left the club at the beginning of October with the club sat in the relegation zone. Carrick then came in and almost immediately influenced things at the club. Now, while his first game didn't go to plan, there were signs put in place against Preston North End during that 2-1 defeat of what he wanted to do long term going forward with this squad. What was interesting was that he immediately ditched that 3 at the back system that Wilder had been so trusting with, instead going for a 4-2-3-1, playing Isaiah Jones as one of the wingers in that side, but still allowing Ryan Giles to get forward as that left-sided fullback. Perhaps what was a sign of things to come under Carrick was the fact that Akpom scored during Carrick's first game in charge, a player who hadn't had all too many opportunities under Wilder previously. Akpom's whole Middlesbrough career had been a little bit strange, to be honest. He was brought in under Neil Warnock, and while he started out quite brightly in the Middlesbrough shirt, soon fell out of favour with him. He then spent the entirety of last season out on loan, and up until the point of which Carrick came in, didn't look like he had all too much of a future in the Middlesbrough shirt. His transformation under Carrick has been absolutely miraculous though, and that's where the managers really played a blinder with getting some of the players who were a little bit outcasted under Wilder back on side and bagging the goals for him. Akpom has played 12 matches under Carrick so far, and in that time he scored 10 goals and got an assist, which really speaks to the efficiency he's playing at the moment. And Akpom isn't the only Middlesbrough forward who's had a massive upturn in form since Michael Carrick has come through the door. Marcus Forss has also shared along with a similar vein of form as of late under the new boss, with 7 goal contributions in his last 9 matches for Middlesbrough. Under Wilder, it very much felt like Forss was a little bit of a wild card. He didn't really know how to get the best out of it, and considering this was a player who'd scored goals for fun at the Championship before for a Brentford side who got promoted, it seemed a bit strange that no one could quite work him out in a Middlesbrough shirt. Carrick's played a blinder when it comes to integrating these two strikers, and they've more than reaped the benefits of that as they've flown up the league table. Since Carrick has come in, Middlesbrough are now well within the top 6 and have only lost 2 league matches, one being his first game in charge when he barely got his feet under the table, and the other being away to league leaders Burnley. Perhaps the best stat to emphasise just what a job Carrick's done since coming in at Middlesbrough: he inherited a side who are right down there in the depths of the Championship and has averaged 2.27 points per game with them so far, which, if that was to be projected over an entire Championship season, would have Middlesbrough picking up 104 points throughout the entirety of a season, which is absolutely bonkers. He's taken the formula that was already there with Wilder, touched it up and reworked it to work with this Middlesbrough squad. They're averaging over 2 goals a game under Carrick and have tightened things up exponentially at the back as well. When we consider that they've still got Cameron Archer to integrate into this squad properly for the second half of the season, this Middlesbrough squad seriously has a shot at promotion this year. Last season in the Championship, whilst out on loan at Preston North End, Archer averaged a goal every 230 minutes in the Championship, and in a more tactically flexible Middlesbrough side with greater quality in the final third, you could only imagine that those numbers would be seriously bumped up this season. And the potential strike partnership of Akpom and Archer really is a scary thought for Championship defences. I think there's absolutely every chance that Middlesbrough do go ahead and seal promotion this season, whether that be automatically or through the playoffs. He's got them playing to such a level at the moment that that momentum can just continue to snowball for the second half of the season and onwards, particularly if they continue to invest in this squad in January. But I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this one in the comments down below. What have you made of Michael Carrick in at Middlesbrough? Is he the real deal, and are they going up this season? Let me know in the comments down below. Apart from that, thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Also, go ahead and give me a follow over on TikTok as well. Started posting videos over on there, which you won't want to miss out on. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.